Chapter 4, Why is Imam Mahdi coming? Section 3, The status of Aaron or Harun and its parallel. As agreed upon by the Sunnis and the Imamis, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family had said to Ali, may Allah and over his face, you are in comparison to me of the same status, manzila, as Aaron or Harun was in comparison to Moses or Musa, except that there is no prophet after me. Bukhari 4416, Muslim 6220, Nasai 8439, Ibn Majah 121, Tirmidhi, Ahmad, Musnad Zaid, etc. Bigots like Ibn Taymiyyah have argued that since the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family said this when he deputed Ali over Medina while leaving for Tabuk, he was just pointing out the similarity with the deputing of Aaron over the Israelites by Moses when the latter was leaving for Mount Sinai. This assumption is wrong because several companions on different occasions were similarly deputed by the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, but none was told likewise as was Ali. May Allah noble his face. Moreover, the hadith does not talk about the similarity of situation, rather it talks about the similarity of status, manzila. By saying, except that there is no prophet after me, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, himself categorically generalized the parallelism of Ali's status with Aaron's status, barring prophethood, thus leaving Ali's status in comparison to the Prophet, peace be upon them, to have parallels with the following aspects of Aaron's status in comparison to Moses, peace be upon them. Aaron was the brother of Moses. Aaron was the best companion of Moses. Aaron was the deputy of Moses. Aaron was the most rightful of succession to Moses. Therefore, Ali's status in comparison to Muhammad, peace be upon them, must represent that Ali was the brother of Muhammad, Ali was the best companion of Muhammad, Ali was the deputy of Muhammad, Ali was the most rightful of succession to Muhammad. Some people might object over the last point, saying that since the successor to Moses was Joshua and not Aaron, so Aaron's parallel Ali must not be the successor to Muhammad, peace be upon them all. We say that Aaron could not succeed Moses because he passed away before Moses. Had Aaron survived Moses, then undoubtedly Aaron would succeed him, so Aaron's parallel Ali survived Muhammad as the legitimate successor to him, peace be upon them all. Ali has parallels with Joshua too, who succeeded Moses, as we'll see later in another chapter, God willing. As for the brotherhood parallel, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family told his cousin Ali, may Allah ennoble his face, you are my brother in this world and the hereafter. Sunni source, Mishkat al-Masabih, narration 5832, classed as Hasan by Tirmidhi in the chapter on Ali's merits. As told by the Prophet himself, he named Ali's sons from his daughter Fatima with Arabic counterparts of the Syriac names of Aaron's sons, Hasan for Shabbar, Husain for Shabbir, and Muhassan for Mushabbar. Sunni source, Sahih ibn Hibban, volume 15, page 410, Musnad Ahmad, volume 1, page 98 and page 118. The rest three parallels contradict the Sunni narrative, which has related those merits for others who are seen as pretenders by the Imamis. But the Sunni Imami agreed upon reports again corroborate those parallels for Ali, may Allah ennoble his face, thus putting a question mark on the Sunni narrative. An agreed upon narration identifying the best companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, which Sunni exegete Ibn Mardawayh reported from 20 chains of narrators, tells on the authority of Anas ibn Malik that once when the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family was presented roasted bird meat, he prayed, O God, bring to me the most beloved to you of your creation, so that he may eat with me from this bird. So Ali, peace be upon him, came and ate the meat with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. Sunni sources, Tirmidhi, narration 3721, Hakim, narration 4650, Ibn Asakir, volume 45, page 192, Daraqutni, Musnad Abi Ya'la, classed as Hasan by Salafi scholar Zubair Ali Zai in his Maqala, Volume 4, page 381, printed by Al-Kitab International. Though most Sunni scholars recognize this narration, the likes of Ibn Taymiyyah brazenly deny it. Abu Bakr al-Baqillani devoted a whole tome to its critique, grappling with its so many reporting chains, rightly requiring a weighty tone. Ignoring the fact that the narration of the birth, hadith, at-tayr, stands mutawatir, transmitted by continuous plurality, whose authenticity should be undoubted according to Sunni standards. But his concern is understandable, since this hadith is detrimental to the very foundation of Sunnism. As agreed upon by the Sunnis and the Imamis, the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, said, "Paradise is eagerly waiting for the three, Ali, Ammar, and Salman." And he, peace be upon him and his family, said, "Verily, God has ordered me to love four and has informed me that He loves them." It was said, "O Messenger of God, name them for us." He said, "Thrice, Ali is from them, and Abu Dhar, Miqdad, and Salman. He has ordered me to love them and has informed me that He loves them." Tirmidhi, chapters on Sahaba's merits. These two agreed upon narrations clearly name the best Sahaba. May Allah bless them. As reported by Ibn Abbas and Zayd ibn Arqam, Ali, may Allah ennoble his face, was the first person to accept Islam after the Prophet's wife, Mother Khadija, may Allah bless her, and to perform prayers with the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. Sunni sources: Musnad Ahmad, narration 3062, classed as Sahih by Ahmad Shakir. Tirmidhi, narration 3735, classed as Hasan Sahih by Tirmidhi. Another agreed upon narration proving Ali, peace be upon him, to be the best of Sahaba is about the conquest of Khaybar, wherein the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, declares, "I will definitely give this standard tomorrow to a man at whose hands Allah will grant conquest, who loves Allah and His Messenger and whom Allah and His Messenger love." The next morning, the standard was given to Ali, peace be upon him. Sunni sources: Bukhari, narration 3701, Muslim, narration 6222. The hadith obviously does not mean that only Ali was beloved to Allah and His Messenger. Rather, it conveys that Ali was the most beloved of Sahaba to Allah and His Messenger, peace be upon him and his family. So the narrations attested commonly by the Sunnis and the Imamis prove Ali, peace be upon him, to be the best of Sahaba, while the narrations saying otherwise are relied upon by only Sunnis. Still, chief Sunni jurist Ahmad ibn Hanbal recognized the fact that the extent of Ali's merits stands unparalleled among Sahaba. Sunni source Hakim, narration 4572, attested by Zubair Ali Zai in Fadail as-Sahaba. Among those deputed by the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, during his lifetime, Ali, peace be upon him, stands out as being Aaron's parallel. But how? Being a prophet, Aaron was the infallible deputy of Moses, peace be upon them both. The Imamis believe Peri Fatima and the 12 Imams to be the infallible non-prophets. And thus the Prophet's clarification, "Except that there is no prophet after me," confirming Ali, peace be upon him, to be his infallible deputy. Allah and His Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, confirmed the infallibility of Ali, Fatima, and the 11 Imams descended from them. As agreed upon by the Sunnis and the Imamis, this Quranic verse or ayah, exclusively, Allah intends to remove far from you the uncleanness, O householders, and cleanse you with a perfect cleansing. Surah Al-Ahzab, ayah 33, came down to the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, when he gathered Fatima, Hasan, Husain, and Ali under his cloak, saying, "O Allah, these are my householders, ahlul-bayt, so remove far from them the uncleanness and cleanse them with a perfect cleansing." His wife Salama said, "Am I also among them, O Prophet of Allah?" The Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, said, "You have a standing of your own, and you are towards a good ending." Sunni source, Tirmidhi, chapters on the merits, chapters on the exegesis of the Quran. Also reported from Aisha in Muslim, narration 6261. In the ayah of the cleansing, obviously spiritual cleansing, ayat al-tathir, the uncleanness, or which in Arabic with the definite article al, signifies all the evils of the soul. So, under the Prophet's cloak were perfectly clean souls, among whom the future 9 Imams from Husain's progeny were spiritually included. Like after angels had given glad tidings to Abraham's childless wife of son Isaac and grandson Jacob, they had prayed, God's grace and His blessings be upon you, O ahlul-bayt household, which has a plural male pronoun in the Arabic Quran pointing to a male majority, the future Abrahamic prophetic bloodline. See Surah Hud, verses 71 to 73. The hadith of the cloak above also clarifies that ayat al-tathir, having male pronouns in Arabic, does not cover the wives of the Prophet peace be upon him and his family, who are thus fallible, whom the ayahs before and after it address. This provision of ayat al-tathir is significant. Ayah 33 of Surah 33 begins with Allah's command to the Prophet's wives, and stay in your houses, which was violated by a wife of the Prophet peace be upon him and his family when she set out in rebellion, confirming her exclusion from the Tathir section against the imamate of ahlul-bayt, whose immaculacy, infallibility, the ayah ends declaring in the Tathir section. Zaydi ibn Arqam reported that the Prophet peace be upon him and his family said to Ali, Fatima, Hasan and Husain, I am at war with whom you go to war with, and I am at peace with whom you make peace with. Sunni source, Ibn Majah, narration 145. The Imams were thus indeed the infallible representatives of the Prophet peace be upon them. Hubshi ibn Junadah reported that Allah's Messenger peace be upon him and his family said, Ali is of me and I am of Ali, and none can deliver on my behalf except myself or Ali. Tirmidhi, narration 3719, graded Hasan by Darussalam. Musnad Ahmad and Mishkat, narration 5831. The agreed upon narrations thus establish Ali as the Prophet's infallible deputy, peace be upon them. Next comes the most controversial issue, succession to the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. Husain at-Tabatabai has quoted narrations with fair chains from both Imami and Sunni sources, reported from Ammar ibn Yasir, Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, Abdullah ibn Salam, Ibn Abbas, Abu Rafi and Muhammad al-Batif, stating that once when a beggar begging in the Prophet's mosque was given a ring by Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was bowing in prayer, the Prophet peace be upon him and his family was meanwhile asked about his successor. Allah revealed the answer in this ayah. Exclusively, your guardian is Allah, His Messenger, and those believing ones who establish prayers and give alms while they are bowing in prayer. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 55. Tafsir Al-Mizan, exegesis of Al-Ma'idah, verse 55. This report is mutawatir, that is transmitted by continuous plurality, but as is usual of Ibn Taymiyyah, he covered just the weakest chain of narration you could find in order to deny this incident, neglecting its many strong chains of narrators. In the ayah of the guardianship, al-wilayah, above, most Sunni exegetes prefer to translate wali as friend instead of guardian, and the last phrase as give alms and they bow down in prayer. For the more appropriate and grammatical translation, give alms while they are bowing in prayer, is indicative of some specific persons. Phrases with similar structures are translated likewise as in Surah 6, verse 131, while their dwellers are unknowing. Surah 7, verses 97 and 98, while they are sleeping, while they are playing. Surah 8, verse 6, while they were watching. Surah 9, verse 50, while they are boastfully overjoyed. Surah 11, verse 117, while their dwellers are rectifying, etc. The use of plural makes Ali's guardianship representative of the guardianship of all the 12 Imams, peace be upon them. The imamate lying in Ali's progeny parallels the chief priesthood of the temple lying in Aaron's progeny. See Numbers chapter 18 verses 1 to 7. The Imamis claim that what Ayat al-Wilayah implied about Ali, the Prophet peace be upon him and his family, was ordered to announce it explicitly to the Muslim nation while returning from his farewell Hajj. The announcement, known as the Ghadeer event, is the major bone of contention in the Sunni-Imami dispute. We will have a comparison of Imami and Sunni exemplars of the Ghadeer narration to see how congruous their meanings are and whose narration this congruity supports. The debate here mostly revolves around the word Mawla in the Ghadeer declaration. For the Sunnis, here it means friend. For the Imamis, it means master here. After reading the context, the reader should ask himself, what do you call the one owing more rights over a person than that person himself, his master or his friend? Imami version. Hannan ibn Sarir quoted his father Sadir on the authority of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir peace be upon him as saying, when Gabriel came down to the Prophet peace be upon him and his family at the farewell Hajj to tell him to proclaim the issue of the guardianship of Ali ibn Abi Talib peace be upon him, this ayah was revealed. O Messenger, convey that which has been revealed to you from your Lord, for if you do it not, you will not have conveyed his message, and Allah will protect you from people. Verily Allah guides not the disbelieving folk. Surah 5 verse 67. The Prophet peace be upon him and his family waited for 3 days until he arrived at Juhfa. Until then he did not raise his hands fearing people. However, when he arrived on the Ghadeer day at Mahia, a place in Juhfa, he called for congregational prayer. Sunni version. It has been narrated on the authority of Bara ibn Azib and Zayd ibn Arqam that when Allah's Messenger peace be upon him and his family encamped at the Hum upon Ghadeer Hum while returning from the farewell Hajj, as reported in Ibn Majah, narration 116. Imami version. After people gathered there, he said, who owns more rights over you than your own selves? The people replied loudly, Allah and his Prophet. The Prophet peace be upon him and his family repeated the question. The people replied, Allah and his Prophet. The Prophet peace be upon him and his family repeated the question for the third time. The people replied, Allah and his Prophet. Then the Prophet peace be upon him and his family raised Ali's hands, peace be upon him, saying, over whom I am mandated, Mawla, then this one, Ali, is also mandated Mawla over him. O Allah, ally with the one having allegiance to him and be against the one against him, and support the one supporting him and abandon the one abandoning him, for he is of me and I am of him, and he is in comparison to me of the same status as Aaron was of in comparison to Moses, except that there is no prophet after me. Tafsir al-Ayyashi, volume 1, page 332. Sunni version. He took Ali's hand and said, don't you all know that I own more rights over the believers than their own selves? The people said, certainly. He said, don't you know that I own more rights over every believer than his own self? They said, certainly. Then he said, O Allah, over whom I am mandated, Mawla, then Ali too is mandated Mawla over him. O Allah, ally with the one having allegiance to him and be against the one against him. So the Prophet made it crystal clear that just as he is the Muslim's Mawla, that is owner of more rights over them than their own selves, likewise Ali is also their Mawla, that is owner of more rights over them than their own selves. Imami version. As reported by Safwan al-Jammal from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, peace be upon him, the Prophet peace be upon him and his family then ordered the people to pledge allegiance to Ali, peace be upon him, which they did. Qutb al-Irshad, page 27. The Prophet peace be upon him and his family said, congratulate Ali over being conferred command over the believers. Al-Kafi, volume 1, page 292, narration 1. Sunni version. Then Umar met him after that and said to him, congratulations, O son of Abu Talib, morning and evening, all the time, now you are the master of every believing man and woman. Mishkat, Merits of Ali, Mustad Ahmad, narrations 19541 and 19543 and 19544, etc. Attested by Albani in his As-Sahiha, narrations 1750 and 2223. The way the Sunni summary of the Ghadeer narration corroborates its Imami details in the table above is noteworthy. A narration recorded by Sunni scholar al-Murali al-Hanafi reports that on the day of Ghadeer, after the Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, made the people pledge allegiance to Ali, Allah bless him, the first adhan, call for prayer, pronounced by Bilal, had him declaring, I testify that Ali is the commander of the believers. Ashhadu anna Aliyan Amirul Mu'mineen. Whereupon some opponents of Ali, Allah bless him, complained to the Prophet, Allah bless him and his family. The son of the negress added to adhan. The Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, replied, what have we announced then? As-Salafa fi Amr al-Khilafa, page 24. On another occasion, a man told the Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, I saw that Salman, after he testified for the apostleship in adhan, I testify that Muhammad is the apostle of Allah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I heard him testifying for the governorship, wilayah of Ali, that is, I testify that Ali is the governor of Allah, Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah. The Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, replied, what you have heard is good. Unwan as-Sahifa, page 81. The Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, said, when you mention me with prophethood, mention Ali, Allah bless him, as the commander of the believers. Imami source, Al-Ihtijaj, page 158. Thus the Imamis pronounced the testimony of Ali's imamate in adhan, not as an integral part of it, but as a desirable act, reminiscent of the Ghadeer declaration. The timing and location of the Ghadeer declaration too are significant. The Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, had finished teaching the Muslims the last of the 5 pillars of Islam in his farewell Hajj. He prefaced the Ghadeer declaration with indicating that the call of his death had approached. Sunni source Muslim, narration 6-2-5, Imami source Al-Fisal, volume 1, page 34. He died after over 2 months. The time for his designating his successor had come. Due to the mountainous terrain around Makkah, caravans went to and from Makkah via Juhfa, the junction point where Imam Ali, Allah bless him, was anointed before the returning Hajj caravan dispersed, and the Hajis, with this news, took respective routes to their hometowns across Arabia. Historical analysts report the number of Hajis present in the Ghadeer event to be more than 90,000, most of whom were obviously recent proselytes to Islam. What should have they understood when they saw their Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, introducing a man to them as their master after him, raising the man's hands high? This conspicuous gesture spoke volumes to them. When their Prophet died after over 2 months, thousands of them refused to pay zakat to Abu Bakr to protest against his hijacking the caliphate. Imami scholar Al-Hurr Al-Amili recorded, Jabir ibn Hazim relates a narration concerning a lady named Hawla al-Hanafiya, whom the commander of the believers, God bless him, had picked up from among the captives of Banu Hanifa. When Hawla met Imam Ali, she asked, who are you? Imam Ali, Allah bless him, said, I am Ali ibn Abi Talib. She said, you are perhaps the one whom Allah's messenger, Allah bless him and his family, chose at a Ghadeer on a Friday morning as the leader and master of people. Imam Ali, Allah bless him, said, yes, I am that very person. Khawla said, we got angry for you, and for this anger we were attacked. Our men said that they would not pay zakat to anyone, nor submit to any person, except to the one chosen by Allah's Prophet as their leader and master. Ifbat al-Huda, volume 2, page 42. Imam Ali emancipated and married her. Proficient Sunni scholars do state that most of the much vilified zakat defaulters had only refused to pay zakat to Abu Bakr without denying the obligation of zakat. Still, they are wrongly put in the same category as of those who had apostatized by following the false prophets. And here lie the roots of Sunni takfirism. The Ghadeer proclamation, which explicitly designated Imam Ali, Allah bless him, as the testamentary successor, wasi, of the Prophet, was reported from 110 Sahaba through hundreds of chains as the supreme mutawatir hadith. And Ibn Taymiyyah proved his ignorance by claiming the hadith to be unproven, whose chains of narration were collected in 2 big volumes by the most famous and best classical Sunni historian, Tabari, who thus switched to the view that Ali, was indeed the Prophet's anointed successor. After Tabri died, he was denied burial in Sunni graveyards by some Hanbali fanatics led by al-Zuhali. Imam Husain's grandson, the leader of the holy warriors, Zayd ibn Ali, was asked about the Ghadeer testament. He said, "He, Allah bless him and his family, instated him, Ali, Allah bless him, in a known way, that is publicly, so that it can be recognized who is the party of Allah, Hizbullah, in the case of split, furqa." Recorded by Muhammad ibn Sulaiman al-Kufi with a complete chain of narrators in his Al-Ghadeer. Imam Zayd ibn Ali wrote in his Tathbit al-Wasiyah, meaning confirming the testament, Ali was more rightful of Allah and his messenger, Allah bless him and his family, than the people. He was their Imam after their Prophet, Allah bless him and his family. Abdullah ibn Buraidah reported from his father Buraidah that the Prophet, Allah bless him and his family, said, "Don't look for faults in Ali, for he is of me and I am of him, and he is to be your guardian, wali after me. And he is of me and I am of him, and he is to be your guardian after me." Sunni source, Musnad Ahmad, narration 23400.